Mohammed, we'll wait for a couple of minutes.
Yes, let them
Before you start. Yeah.
let them feel comfortable. So we reached 20.
Yeah.
Let me call Himanshu again.
He is there, I think. He already he upgraded as a panelist. You can see that.
Ah, okay, good. Very good.
Good evening, everyone. We will be starting shortly in maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
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 Sheikha, is the YouTube online?
Yes, yes. I'd like to note that this session is streaming live on YouTube. There will be a recorded version of this. And for those who can't join the Zoom session, can watch us online on YouTube.
I don't know why we have only 21.
Yeah, one problem.
I've opened YouTube. I can see Sama only.
We have 8 are watching online on YouTube as well, up till now.
One of them is me.
Okay.
My picture is now on, which is good. I'm watching the YouTube thing, so I think we should start, guys, because if 21 are there, then I'm gonna take a
Okay,
photo.
we'll start another 2 minutes, Mohammed, 7:10 maybe, 2 minutes.
Okay.
YouTube is giving additional revenue to listen, without coming to the Zoom.
Sorry?
YouTube is given additional platform to listen the talk.
Ah, yeah, I can see. Karam Saraha.
Yeah,
I can see that.
it's good. Okay, Mohammed, can we start? Mohammed?
Yes, Mr. Sam,
Yes,
I
yes.
think we can
Let's
start.
Start.
Good evening. On behalf of Ministry of Structural Engineers, welcome you all for the great session of Dubai Land Department. The topic is engineering that projects. We welcome Mr. Shekha and Mr. Majid Al Mari and Mr. Muhammad Al Daha. I believe Mr. Shekha will be the moderator today. Please take over the platform, Mr. Shekha.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sama. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Sheikha. I'm an architect at the Land Department, and I'm very pleased to be presenting today's talk, Engineering That Protects, in collaboration with the Institution of Structural Engineers, the UAE Regional Group. So thank you very much. I'd like to note that this is streaming live on YouTube, and there will be a recorded version later. For those of you who just joined us, thank you very much and welcome. Let me start by introducing His Excellency Mr. Majid Al Mari, CEO of the Real Estate and Services Sector. The mic is yours, Mr. Majid.
Thank you, Sheikha. Good evening to everyone. I'm happy to welcome you today for the webinar on engineering that protects in collaboration with the Institution of Structural Engineers for the stakeholders of the real estate registration and services sector in Dubai Land Department, DLD. Dubai Land Department seeks to transform Dubai into the #1 real estate destination in the world in terms of innovation, trust, and happiness. Dubai Land Department is providing an innovative and sustainable real estate environment that has turned Dubai into the happiest city through its smart services, which would provide open access to investors anytime, anywhere. We aim to position Dubai as the world premier real estate destination and to create an innovative and sustainable real estate environment that will promote Dubai as the world's happiest city through smart services, professional human and financial resources, integrated real estate legislation. Engineers are one of the important professionals who helped us achieve this vision. Our survey department play a big role in the real estate sector to support and help the developers. I am sure that after today's session, you will leave the webinar with useful takeaways. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Majid. I'd like to note that we'll be taking your questions, and answering them later. Mr. Majid and Mr. Mohammed Al-Dah will dedicate the last 10 or maybe 15 minutes to answer your questions. Let me introduce Mr. Mohammed Al-Dah, Director of the Survey Department in DLD, and he'll be taking us through Land Department's role and engineering and the systems that are put in place to protect the investors. So Mohammed Al-Dah, the mic is yours, and thank you very much for today's talk in advance.
Thank you very much, Sama, Sheikh, Mr. Majid. I hope you can hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, and
Perfect.
I believe the screen is on as well. Your presentation is on.
Perfect. Okay, so just trying to see if we can. Excellent. Okay? So my name is Mohammed Al-Dah from Dubai Land Department, and we'll talk to you today about engineering that protects. This presentation was given a few months ago before Corona hit us, and it seemed that there's a lot of interesting people with the topic that was discussed. So we decided to give it again online, hopefully to reach a bigger audience. So the talk will take you through 6 main sections. I'll introduce myself, and I'll introduce the Dubai Land Department. And then we'll talk about the business streams and sectors that the DLD is structured under. And then I'll focus on engineering and talk about the various things that we do in my department. And we'll finish talking about international cooperation that we work under, as well as the technology side of things. So a little bit about me. I was born in Dubai in 1979. I studied then at University of Oxford. I graduated with a master's degree in engineering, followed by getting my chartership through ISRT in 2008. And then 2009, I joined Dubai Land Department, and I helped write the Emirates Valuation Standards, which is the local standards for valuers in UAE. And in 2020, was elected vice president of the ISRT. A little bit about Dubai Land Department, which we nicknamed Rashid Al-Saeed Al-Maktoum, ruler of Dubai. And that was even before the Federation of the UAE. In 2002, freehold sales started, which allowed foreigners to own property in Dubai. And it was the first city in the whole Gulf region to do that. In 2007, RERA was founded, which is a real estate regulatory agency, which is basically a regulator to help the developers and all the stakeholders in the real estate market to work in a kind of transparent and fair way. So that's the logo at the bottom. And 2018, how's the voice, by the way? Because I'm saying internet is weak. Voice is okay?
Voice is loud and clear.
Okay, excellent. So 2018, the DLD structure was approved, which saw major changes in the way we operate. And that included 6 sectors. One of them is the registration sector, which we work in at the moment, and is headed by His Excellency Mr. Majid Al-Marri. In 2020, we saw another big change, which was the setup of the Dubai Majlis. The Dubai Majlis basically streamlined the government of Dubai's systems, so that all of the 22 government agencies report through 6 pillars or 6 kind of commissioners. And each commissioner is responsible for his or her part of the city. So we are under the infrastructure and urban planning pillar, which incorporates Dubai municipality and the Mohammed bin Rashid Housing Establishment, as well as Dubai Land Department. So this was announced in January 2020. So I'll talk a little bit about the sectors that we have. On this slide, I have 3 sectors. There's a total of 6. The first sector is registration, which is our sector where I'm currently working under the leadership of Mr. Majid. And we have 4 departments. So we have customer services, we have registration, which deals with the title deeds, and we have engineering survey, which is my team, and we have valuation or property valuation. The second sector, which is RERA, which, like I said, was established about 13 years ago in 2007, and it has 3 departments: escrow account, licensing, and service charges associations associated with managing freehold properties. And then we have the investment promotion sector, which is tasked with bringing and promoting Dubai as a real estate investment destination. The fourth sector is the rental dispute center, which is also referred to the rental court, and previously called the rental committee. That's where all of your any rental dispute or any legal rental issues will be addressed through there. And the target is to get a resolution within the 28 days or even less. So for your rental disputes. The fifth sector is Dubai Real Estate Institute, which is the training arm of Dubai Land Department. Many brokers will be familiar with this. So when they do their brokerage or valuation training. And the final sector is our corporate support sector, which is supporting all of us through HR, finance, etc. So this is finally approved 2 years ago, in 2018. And we have been working under this new structure since then. So now I think this is the bit which you're all hoping to witness and listen to. It's the bit about the engineering. So a lot of the engineering talks, the engineering services and the engineering capabilities, let's say, of Dubai Land Department are a little bit hidden. You only get to know it if you're a developer or if you have a certain specific issue. The idea here is we want to bring that to a wider audience through the iStructE as well. And we want to give you a little bit of a taste to see what's happening in the back end, so that by the time you receive your title deed or your mortgage, or you do your transfer, or you receive your payment or whatever, it's all streamlined and very efficient, fair, and secure. So I'll talk to you a little bit about a live project, which I thought will be useful and easy to use and understand. So we have the Skyview Towers project, which is under the Address brand by MR. It's a twin tower, as you can see from the picture on the right. And it's a mixed use development. There's hotels, there's apartments, and it's joined at the top by this big deck. So basically, how do the engineers at Land Department protect you? So we'll take you through that. First of all, for those who don't know, and I'm pleased I've noticed that one of our attendees is also coming, joining us live from Mexico. So welcome to everyone from all over the world who've joined us. You might not know where the project is. The project is located close to Burj Khalifa, where the red arrow is pointing to, and it's close to the iconic Dubai Fountain and Dubai Mall. And this project has been recently completed, only a few months ago. On the plan as well, you can see the Dubai Canal in the south, and it's quite a big project. And like I said, we have been monitoring it throughout the construction over the last couple of years. So we will show you a little bit about the details on that. So it's also just south of the Sheikh Zayed Road motorway, which is shown in Arabic, unfortunately, but it's the main motorway traversing your screens in yellow. So it's quite a central location. It's very, very central. In my previous talk, at this point, I asked you to download the Dubai Rest app, which you can get it on your iPhone, or you can get it on your Android device. I use it all the time, even though I am, a member of staff. So if you want to follow throughout this talk and download it, I'll leave the logo on the screen for a few moments so you can get it. So you will then be able to, as I talk throughout this presentation, you can go and explore yourself and see what am I talking about and does it actually work or not, and try to understand a bit more about what data we've provided on the platform. Obviously, all of the private data is private, but a lot of the public, there's a lot of public data available, including data on projects, on developers, on escrow accounts, on various things and in various formats. So you can search by name, or you can even go to a map and explore it. So you can do all of that on the application DubaiRest. I'll finish the promotion just by saying that the DubaiRest stands for Real Estate Self-Transaction, which is effectively enabling sales and transfers and transaction in general between people without being connected physically. So, and this became very useful now in the Corona time. So that's why it's called DubaiRest, in case you're wondering. So hopefully this has given you enough time to download the app, and I will proceed now through the example. So we have roughly 10 different services that we provide in engineering or in the survey department. And I will go through them slowly, hopefully, giving you some screenshots from the application, as well as showing you some of the documents that we produce. So the first thing I've mentioned here, the point number one, is the escrow reports. The escrow reports is a financial tool to enable the customers to ensure that the projects that they bought off plan are being built as per the contract. So a developer would typically offer a project off plan, so it hasn't been built yet, at a discount, and promise the investor that it will be finished in 1, 2, or 3 years, for example. And then the investor will need to pay to the developer on certain intervals the agreed price. So we would go in and we would just ensure that if, let's say, a 50% payment is requested, that the project has achieved 50% on site. So although we are doing an engineering role, we are fulfilling a financial check, so to speak. So the first two screenshots on the left, you can see an inspection in December 2019 showing 100%, and you can see the long one showing the various stages. And I'm going to try to use a pointer. Let's see if this will work. Just 1 second. Cannot seem to find it on this computer, but anyway, I will then describe it. I will describe it using my voice. But basically, the first two screens on the left are from the app, so you can see the project is at 100%, and each line, horizontal line, there will show the inspection. Moving to the document on the right, that is a typical site plan, which we offer to the owners of properties. And that is effectively, once you buy the property, you'll be able to request this on the app, and you'll get it within a few minutes. And it shows the location of your property in terms of the plot and the plot number, even the plot dimensions, and then the floor plate of the building and which floor it's on, the parking number, and then the actual layout of the apartment. So I'm just looking closely at this. It's the apartment is 1009, and it's a 1-bedroom or 1+ study. So that is basically, that moves us to the second part, which is the net and common areas, which is the property survey team's work. And that's, like I said, the first 2 points. So the escrow accounts, our escrow reports, as well as the property survey services. And if we go to the third point, which is BIM, which is Building Information Modeling, or some people refer to it as 3D or 4D even capabilities. We're working at the moment to upgrade our systems to BIM in line with international best practice. And the idea is that instead of showing the data in 2D, which is the old kind of method of doing things, we will transform it to 3D. And then you can see the relationship between the common and the private areas a bit better. And it will allow you to, it will allow better integration in the future on how basically the built environment works. Now everything's moving towards 3D, and we can also interact with infrastructure and other things. So that's the third point, which is BIM, or Building Information Modeling. The fourth point is the GIS, or the Geographic Information Systems. GIS effectively is, it is, you can consider it as Microsoft Excel for maps. So when you have a, let's say 2D geographical information that you want to show and you want to interact with the data, then the easiest and best way to do it is using GIS. And it's a land management tool, and the screenshot I've showed you is taken from our GIS systems. So you can see it matches the kind of Google map, let's say, of the area, but it gives slightly different parameters, which I've shown on the left. So you can see that the plot number is plot 160. It also shows the various sub numbers and the area of the plot in square feet, square meters, and it shows all the requests that have been registered on this plot. So the owner can actually go into the app and he can see all of these things, and he can request new procedures, etc. Obviously, this is a common, this is a property that has common ownership. So not everything will be visible to everyone. It will be as per their what they have been allowed to view, and depends what they bought, etc. So the building owner will not see the flat information, etc. And the flats, they cannot see each other. So the privacy of each investor is respected and guaranteed. And let's go to the next slide. So this is, I've covered the first 4 points. We'll continue through points 5 to 10 on this slide. It gets easier, I think. Number 5 is valuation. So effectively, if you want to know the value of your property, which can be used in a mortgage application, or if you want to put it in an auction, or if you need to pay some fees with the municipality, you can request that to the application, which will be dealt by our colleagues in valuation team. And sometimes they request a site visit. So we help out and we provide that data through the survey department, which can include pictures or areas or any technical information which the valuation team will request from us. And I've also shown an example of an earlier version of the valuation certificate in green. And it will have all the details as well as the date of the valuation, which will be useful for the property investor. The sixth service that we provide is compensation. So when there's a compensation claim happening at DLD, usually this is typically for construction of single occupation houses and villas, and there's some dispute between the contractor and the owner. We will go in as engineering survey, and we will calculate the construction progress. So we'll say that most of the foundations are cast, the structure has been built, block work is ongoing, MEP is just started, So we estimate like 45% complete, for example. And then that would tie in with the payments that are made, and then the DLD would manage through the compensation team the process of handling payments. So we offer the service as well as a kind of mediation and information kind of to the different landlords. The seventh service is Mulak. So Mulak is Arabic for owners, which is the new system launched last year by RERA for service charges. So it's a centralized system. It's the first of its world, actually, first of its kind in the world, that combines all the data in one place. So obviously the big challenge there that we've had in the past is that owners were not paying their service charges. It's a huge challenge. So when some of the people do not pay, it affects the performance of the building as a whole. So our input as the survey department is a minor but important one, in that we define the different areas that are part of the building. So if a building costs 1 million dirhams, let's say, to maintain every year, and has 100 apartments, then each apartment will pay 1% of that 1 million. However, that assumes that the size is the same. So we will go in and we measured every apartment, and we measured the common areas, and we can give this breakdown to RERA, who will then estimate the charges in a more accurate and transparent way. So a 3-bedroom apartment will pay more than a studio. So we provide the back-end information for Mulaki system to allow it to calculate the service charges accurately. So that is number 7. Number 8 is a very exciting project, which we just finished the first phase of, and we're starting now the exciting second phase. We call it BCS for short, so Building Classification Survey. This system started 5 years ago to survey the old bits of Dubai. And we noticed that we have very good land information, but we are missing on the building information. So we might not be aware of a building being demolished, for example. We might not be aware of how many shops are there in an old building in Deir or in Bartaba. So this project looks at that. And the ultimate aim, other than giving all of the property data, is also giving a star rating for all the buildings in Dubai. So although we started in the non-freehold areas of Dubai, and we want to give populate our database with the information, because if you know the way Dubai is set up, the non-freehold bits are not allowed to be sold in part. So you cannot have multiple ownership on a plot. So each building is owned by one person, and there's only one title deed on it. So it's a slightly legally different system from the freehold. So that's why we started this, and I'll show you some of the results later for our classification. So we know how many 1-star and 2-star and 3-star buildings there are. Finally, point number 9 is the Ijari system. Ijari is Arabic for rental, and it is a system which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with, because it's probably just over 10 years old now, and every time there's a new contract signed between a landlord and a tenant, it gets registered on Ijari. Our role here is, again, a supportive role, and we would support the Ijari team to make sure that the areas are correct, and the D1 numbers and the location, the plot number is also correct. All the technical information and the engineering data goes into the same contract, and we are able to reflect what is happening in the market onto the system. So in the future, let's say, unfortunately, there's a rental dispute. We know exactly when the rental contract was signed, what price was paid, or the rent, what deposit was there, what's the built-up area or the GFA, and all of that. That all gets registered from day one when you sign your Ijari contract. And the final point, which is R&D data or reporting data, basically. So we also continuously offer data and reporting to various Dubai government entities, such as the Executive Council. And to give you an idea, it's not all maybe as scary as you think. Sometimes it's very basic stuff. The government always wants to improve the standard of living for the citizens and residents of Dubai. So we were asked previously to look at the number of industrial properties in Dubai and how close are they to the residential communities. So the government is looking at a big picture kind of study to make sure that, first of all, there's enough industrial land to help Dubai grow, and at the same time to have a high quality of living for the residents in Dubai, and to make sure that, for example, you don't have a house or a school next to a cement factory. So the Executive Council and other entities as well always are in touch with us to ask for this data, and we give them the data as part of our role as Dubai government. So I've attached a few screenshots from the BCS system, the Building Classification Survey, and this is, like I said, for the building that we've mentioned. So now I've finished the 10 points, and I'm just going to talk you through the example which I mentioned earlier, which is the building by Emaar, Skyview Towers or Skywalk Towers, and I will show you what type of information we have on our BCS system. So this project here, the pictures showing the pool deck at one of the higher floors, and these pictures have been taken by our staff. So we know that it's on the right plot, it's on the right project, and we know that it's verified through a government employee. So there's little scope to manipulate and to like produce fraudulent reports on that. And basically anyone with the right qualifications or privileges can go in and access these pictures. So let's say a judge wants to know when a building was built, he can put the plot number, and then it will show him the pictures, for example, for that building. So that's a very important tool. Sometimes a simple picture is enough to give you what you need, and we provide that service. Obviously, there are other ways to get pictures of buildings, but we have our own standards of how to take a picture, and we show, for example, the neighboring buildings as well as the main buildings. So we show a wide angle view of the building, and any facilities in the building which are recorded on the database will also be pictured as well. So there's a verification. Very simply, if you have a 10-floor building and a rooftop pool, so you have basically 10 floors plus roof, then we will take a picture of the elevator that shows the 10 buttons and the roof button, so the R button, as well as any ground or basement floors, etc. So we always double verify everything. And the bit on the right in green, you can see the data card for the building. It just shows some of the information for one of the buildings we have over there, including the year built and various other things. So let me just go to the next slide. One of the important aspects of the BCS system that we have is the 64 questions. We have identified 64 different parameters for the buildings in Dubai, which they will be assessed continuously throughout the life of the building. So for example, we have, and these 64 questions are designed to be answered in a yes or no fashion, to enable our engineers to quickly and accurately input the data, and then later to enable our systems to generate reports in a fast and efficient and professional way. And a lot of our systems now are beginning to use artificial intelligence or machine learning. And it's easier when it's a simple 1 and 0. So to give you an example, if you can see, I don't know if you can see the questions, but these are the first set of questions, which are standard for all of Dubai's buildings. And we have 150,000 plots in Dubai. And the first batch of buildings which we've surveyed or we've calculated is about 15,000 buildings. So just gives you an idea of the scale of what we're looking at. So if we go into a bit of detail, you can see we have 4 questions for parking. So questions, I don't know the numbers, but I know them by heart. So there's a question for, is there any parking available on the plot? So that question means that you will typically have a basement parking, or you would have parking allocated on the plot for use by the users. So that's a simple yes or no. Either you have it or you don't. The second question is, for example, is there RTA parking directly outside of the plot? Which is similar to, for example, the DLD building, which has both. So the staff sometimes can park inside, but guests and visitors can park outside. So the DLD will get 2 ticks for those questions. And then question 3, for example, is there any parking for handicapped users? And then question 4 is for valet parking. So very simply, we have 4 criteria, which we have then mapped onto all of the buildings in Dubai. And you can produce reports, for example, to any, let's say, health associations, to tell them which areas have more parking for disabled users, for example, or which areas have a lack of valet parking, etc. So that all gets recorded. And like I said, we have 64 different questions, and this is just a sample of these questions. So we found it's a very fast and accurate tool to classify the buildings in Dubai. So the next screen shows 2 areas in Dubai. Typically, if I'm doing this live, I would ask the audience some questions, but I'm sure you're going to ask me the questions. So the drawing or the map on the left is for the Burj Khalifa and Business Bay community. So anything in green is basically a registered project as per Dubai escrow laws, which are regulated through RERA. So you have maybe the biggest piece of greenery is Dubai Mall on the north. And then you can see the fountain as well. And you can see some of the projects on the left, which are the City Walk area. And towards the south, you can see the Business Bay and Dubai Canal, with each little square for an individual project. The bit on the right is JLT, or Dubai Marina, or Marsa Dubai, or Athaniya Al-Khamsa, whichever system you want to use. And again, you can see all the registered projects there. So the green ones are active projects, and this will fall under our escrow kind of checking system. And like I said, so we've showed it here on a map, and this again is available on the application. If you go to the Mashru'i section of the app, which is my projects, you can find the map, and you can click on the map or zoom into the bit that you want. Very similar to Google Maps, and you can click on it and see the details of that project. I'm nearing the end of the talk, and I thought I will show you a bit of the pictures of what life is like for our staff. And you can see here some of the site visits that we've done. So some of the ones on the top are in Jumeirah, in the beachfront and also some of the residential areas in Dubai. All of our staff wear special uniformed vests. We use tablets that are connected through 4G networks, and we have a number of cars and staff, and that's a group picture taken in a cold morning in front of the DLD. I'm very happy with the team that I have, and this is some of the training sessions that we've done in the old areas. So one of them is Muraqabat, and then I think the other one is in Bardu Bay and Satwa at the bottom. And you can see some illegal advertising shown, and we just, we all take note of it and help train the engineers to have an appreciation of the different communities in Dubai. So again, Satwa is one of the more fun communities that we've visited. This is in Ras Al Khor Industrial, which is mainly warehouses. So you can see these are steel fabrication yards. This was interesting because we record potential security or health and safety violations through a red flag system. So that picture you see with the cooling fan is a distribution board or a DB, which we suspect is overloaded and might have caught fire in the past. So they're using an exhaust fan or a cooling fan to cool it down, which is not exactly safe. So we took a picture of it and we recorded it as a potential risk. The following pictures are, I'm sure you recognize it, near the clock tower. Again, we go into the buildings, we record what's there, we document if the building is built or not, the number of floors, any landmarks nearby. Even the pictures on the left shows 2 water tanks at the entrance of an old building, which is very unsuitable, but that's what they've done. So all these things were mentioned, and we record it for use as needed. Also more pictures here. Like I said, when we did these training sessions, we've been with various teams. So you can see some of our colleagues are with us from the rental sector, from the research sector, and various sectors. So we work as one team to try to provide the best service for the public. And the picture there is the business bay on the right with the cheese building or the O14 building. Again, this is a new area in Dubai. So again, it's a different type of area, different challenges, and needs to be addressed the right way. So yeah, lots of smiles and tablets from our teams. We have very diverse teams, speak many languages, which is well suited for a cosmopolitan city like Dubai. And the end result, I guess, is data. So we record this data, and it will be used as needed in the future. So this is a simple drawing or a map of Barsha First Community, Dubai. To the north, you can see the famous Mall of the Emirates. So we've shown in red all of the plots that have provided parking for people of determination or with disabilities, which makes sense because you see a lot of it on the commercial buildings. The residential houses towards the south don't have it because they don't need it, because you'll have your own assigned parking. So again, we have very big picture data, we have very specific data, and that can be used as needed. This is another drawing which we've prepared for you through our GIS team. This is for Jumeirah Village Circle, otherwise known as Barsha South 4th. And you can see the Jumeirah Village Triangle on the left. The JVC or Jumeirah Village Circle is a mixed-use project, mainly with residential and commercial construction there. And you can see there's a lot of projects there. And I've tried to list all of them here. I don't know if you can see it in the middle of the screen. There's at least 50 or 100 projects. So again, this information is also on the application, and you can, let's say you're offered to buy a project in Dubai of plan, you can simply go to the app and see if it's registered. And if it's not registered, then you can make a decision not to buy because there's probably something wrong. And finally, the big drawing on the right in green is for the freehold and non-freehold areas of Dubai. So green is non-freehold and blue is freehold. The color, the pink color is for leasehold areas, which is not that much in Dubai. So typically 99 years. I'll try to go a bit quicker because of time. This is just some of the reports we issue. So these are the BCS reports for 1 to 5 stars. These are some of the big kind of results, big picture results for the BCS ratings. So you can see we have, for example, 10% of the buildings in Dubai are 4 stars at the moment, and about 2% are 5 stars. So again, this is still work in progress, but you can see that there's a distribution of quality and services in the buildings. So just to summarize, these are the 10 services that we provide in the survey department. Again, I can talk in a lot of detail about each one, but I hope this gave you a general appreciation of what we do. And you're very welcome to come and visit us and ask any more questions, either here on the chat or in person. We're always here to serve you. And I will finish with a bit of the international side of things. So we've collaborated with a lot of leading organizations like CBRE, the RICS, and the Royal Institute of British Architects. And we've signed various agreements with them to help train our staff and their staff, and to increase collaboration to help the built environment in Dubai. And this is also taken at the recent iStructE conference in Dubai and during our visits to the UK at the headquarters. Also valuation, we collaborate with the valuation teams as well and regulators internationally. So this is during the visit of the IVSC in Dubai, the big picture on the bottom. And we also visited their headquarters in London last year, as well as the Tigova, which is based in Belgium. The World Bank is also quite important to us. We work very closely with them. And this shows the various workshops that we've had in Dubai and in the UK, and the various delegations that we've received. For example, Mr. Alexander Aronson in the bottom left, he helped Dubai and Dubai Land Department write various standards like the measurement standards and the Emirates Book of Evaluation. So there's a group picture of us there a couple of years back. Finally, the engineering that we do is all very well and interesting, but it has to be linked to technology. So DLD is pioneering in the technology that is used. We've moved to blockchain a few years ago, which gives you much more security with the transactions. And we're trying to put as much reports online to enhance the transparency, which is mainly through the application. And I've showed the screenshot of the application, which is under the 10X initiative by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, ruler of Dubai and Prime Minister of the UAE. And just one of the examples for Dubai Risk, ideally, if you have a buyer in Singapore and a seller in San Francisco, they can just use the application to sell their property, and they don't actually need to come to Dubai, although they might want to come for tourist reasons. And yeah, so we're reaching the end now. So it's all about you. If you're an investor, a tenant, a landlord, developer, a contractor, a visitor, we interact with all the stakeholders, and hopefully we provide a positive and professional service through the various teams and sectors. And this is just a snapshot of what we have. So thank you for listening. and hope it was a positive experience. So I think we'll stop now and take some questions.
Thank you, Mohammed. This was very informative, even for me. We do have few questions. I think we have 3 minutes, but maybe we can extend them a bit since we started late. Let me start with this question here. Amar Diab, how do you maintain the updates on the completed buildings under the BCS scheme? Mohammed, if you can take this question.
Yes. Also, I'm keen to highlight, I think Mr. Majid is still with us, so we can also take some questions on the registration
Anything
side.
that's related to registration and real estate services, I think we can direct questions to Mr. Majid.
Yes, so very quickly about the updates from Mr. Omar. Good to see you again. We have a system to update the data, which is currently being approved. So we haven't done it yet, but we're in the process to do it. And we've budgeted roughly 5 years for the data to be valid and live on the system. So if your building will need to be accessing certain DLD services, then you will need to update the data every 5 years, or just verify that the data has not changed every 5 years.
Okay, this is a follow-up question as well related to the BCS. Do you have different sets of questions based on the land use? And what action do we take, or do you take, for the red flag buildings?
So do you have different set of questions based on land use? And
what
I'll answer. Yeah, I'll answer that one first. So no, we don't. The idea is that we record what is built. So either it can be built, either it can be empty, or it can have a villa or a building or a tower. So we just record what's there, but it doesn't depend on the land use. Although we do record what has been built. So I hope that makes sense.
Okay. Another question.
This is the red flag. I'll just answer the red flag quickly.
Yeah.
But I'm keen to have questions for Mr. Majid. Since he's
there is one. I will speak to that.
The red flag, we do not take any action now, but we just record it. So the idea, Mr. Omar, is that if a landlord would seek to increase the rent on his building, we would look at any red flag data on the system, obviously in collaboration with the rental team. It's their remit, but we provide them with that data, and then they can make a quick decision whether to grant this increase or not. At the same time, if there's a complaint or a case, then the relevant team can see if there's any issues from the red flag. What the red flag might also do, it might just tell us we need to survey the building again, or we might need to contact the owner to get more data. So it's not it's not like a penalty of sorts or a fine or something like that. It's just an alert for us to say that there's something here needs to be done.
I'm not sure we have questions related to real estate registration, but we do have one that is related to the escrow construction progress. VJ, I hope I pronounced it right. The frequency of construction progress survey is once in around 5 months. So can it go to every 2 to 3 months and aligned to construction
okay.
progress?
Thank you, Sheikha, and thank you, VJ. I can see the questions actually on the screen as well, which is good. I'm learning as we go. To answer Mr. VJ is we have a guideline in terms of the frequency. So I think the guideline from RERA is that you need to have 3 inspections a year. If you don't kind of comply with this guideline, then RERA might request more visits, and we will provide that service. If you provide more frequent site surveys, that's absolutely fine. But the typical is every 4 months, and I'm just trying to find the question. Yes, so typically 4 months. The site visit, an inspection costs money, and the developer usually pays for it. So always the developers try to use this more efficiently. So it doesn't make sense to request, every week to request a site visit because it will be inefficient. And at the same time, they want to give a few months because it will allow the contractor to show some progress on site.
But you can do that for the partial reports as well. So I think the partial reports are more frequent.
Yes.
Compared to the, okay. We have a question that is related to the recent law.
Sheikh, can you raise your voice a bit?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. If you can, Mohammed or Majid, if he's still here, if you can elaborate on the common area law and how that will affect the service charge.
Is that by Mr. Mustafa?
It's yes, Mr. Mustafa is asking about the service charges, and we have another question from YouTube. So.
Oh, okay. So, do you want me to take it or Mr. Majid? Can you just rephrase the question, Sheikha, so I understand?
Basically, can you elaborate more on the common area law? I think it's law number 6 of 2019.
Yes.
And how it will affect the service charges.
Okay, I can give a brief answer to that. Effectively, the properties in Dubai have been built as non-freehold since the 1960s and even before that, and then freehold since 2002, 2005. But there hasn't been a way to manage the relationship between the individual owners in a building and with the owner association or even with the developer. So the law number 6 for 2019 addresses that. So one of the first things, one of the main things the law does is describe how to set up an owner association and how the service charges are managed and calculated, etc. And also it allows for procedures when the owners do not pay the service charge. So in general, that's the main gist of the law. And we do not, as a survey department, we do not really go into the details of enforcing it, but we provide information for RERA mainly to allow them to apply the law in the right way.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed. Last question. Yeah, we've passed the time, but last question, and I think if Mr. Majid can take this, and this is related to the registration penalties and whether, they've been waived during the COVID-19 period. So what sort of measures have we taken, the land department?
Yes, Sheikha, during the last 3 months, Dubai Land Department complete more than 100,000 electronic transaction and more than 20 billion dirhams in registration. This is a good number in that period. And regarding the waiving of the registration penalty, we've been giving incentives for the investors and giving them time to register their properties, and this been also extended till end of September now.
Okay, this sounds good. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if we have enough time to take a couple of more questions or Shall we just?
Maybe we'll go back to Sama and see how he wants to wrap it up.
Yeah. Can I ask one general question? I'll have take privilege to take one question. General question, Mr. Mohammed. What is the effect? What is the effect on COVID in DLD and how it direction towards construction industry?
Good question. I think it's an unexpected event which we handled well. In the last, I'd say, 5 years, and really in the last 2 years of those 5 years, we really had a big push from our leadership to have more online systems. The application we're using was a lot of effort and time was spent onto that, and we benefited from this investment, let's say, during COVID. So for us, it was an easy transition to go to working remotely and using social distancing, etc. Maybe the challenge was not technical, but the challenge was how do you reach out to the people? Your typical customer doesn't know that we have an application, doesn't know that we have a call center or a website that will help. And sometimes people just don't want to use the technology and they just want to talk to a human being. So that is challenging, and an application will not fix that. But for those who want to use technology, we were, I think, more ready than others to face that. In terms of our engineering work, we changed the site work to allow for social distancing. So our site inspections, for example, we temporarily put a stop on inspections like in areas like International City and Dubai. We stopped that completely, and we focused on doing more office work, and we structured the staff to finish some of the pending work in that. And now we've resumed site activities, by the way, and we get, for example, the developer to send pictures from the inside of the building, and we would verify with an outside walk around of the building.
Thank you. I think you want to take a few more questions, couple of minutes. I think we are okay. I'm okay to conclude the session now. Okay, Sheka?
We have few questions. So Mohammed, can you take 2 more maybe?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to answer them quickly, since these people were very kind to join us. Do you want to let me know which one to answer first?
Yeah. Let's go from the start. The first question, Amar Diab again. So the classification results, this is also related to the BCS. Are they going to be, out for the public to explore the different star ratings for buildings? The classification.
Yes, but we are still working on a mechanism for that. So that's the plan. How exactly it will be done, we'll get back to you on that, because we need to approve the procedures.
Samar is asking if we're using BIM and how it will affect the buyers for service charges.
I know what BIM is, but I don't know what Smart City is. I think it's some kind of software. We are not using BIM yet, but we are studying how to introduce it into our systems, and it should not affect the service charge, because ultimately we are just measuring the building up for use by the Mulak team to calculate the service charge.
Okay. This is a question from Tariq. Do you register owner associations for freehold building residents, and do we manage that as land department?
Yes, RERA does that under its specialist department, which is headed by my colleague Hamad bin Hamad, and they are the ones that are responsible for that. And like I said, we provide the back end data, like the plot information, the built up areas and the floors and all of that.
Okay. I think this is the last question from Fadi. Who owns the land and joint townhouses commercial projects? So who owns the mainland?
Okay, that's a good one. who owns the land in a joint townhouse commercial project? Do you want to answer that, Sheikh?
Well, for townhouses, the land is divided accordingly to each townhouse. However, the title deed is given not as per the plot area. So we do add that as a number.
So the land is owned jointly, basically by
the land
owners.
is owned jointly. The investor gets a title deed on the built-up area, not the land area. So they get a portion of the big mainland. I don't know if that was clear.
Excellent.
I can rephrase myself if that wasn't, or I can type it.
Anyway,
Because-
we are Sheikh available anyway
Yeah,
at the
we are
land
available.
department, and we are open now. By the way,
Go on. Sorry.
no, we are open. We are open for business. So during office hours, which is 7:30 till 2:30, Sunday to Thursday. So we do accept customers, and if you still want human interaction, you can get it, and you can call us and email us and all of that stuff. And we are happy to continue answering your questions privately or in person,
Yes.
as per your preference.
Yes. Tariq Iskandarani has a lot of questions, but just to clarify, the land is not owned by the developer once the units are sold. For any more questions, I think my email was written in one of the answers. I can write it again, Tariq, and I can answer any question by email. I think that's it for today. Mohammed, maybe we can, Sama, you can wrap it up.
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank everyone who joined, a lot of familiar names. Thank you very much. And
Yeah. Thank you, Shekha. And is it okay? Can we make it video on? We'll have a group photo.
yeah, I
So
don't mind
Majid,
that.
so Himanshu.
Yeah, let's have a switch on the cameras.
Maybe
Huh?
I'm not sure of the lighting, but you can go ahead.
I'll fix my tie.
Mr. Abdullah?
Himanshu,
Mr. Abdullah is there?
I don't know. I'm sure he's there.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Nice. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you also, Mr.
Thank
Majid
you.
and Mr.
Thank you,
Sakti.
Mr. Majid, Mr. Abdullah, Shekha, and Himanshu. It's a nice coordination to make it success. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Take care. God bless you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.